So we submitted chart of accounts file and we verified system created all these setups. And also we submitted financial common entities file in the last session itself. And what this file can create in the system, we'll see. This file creates first accounting calendar, creates accounting calendar. When system creates accounting calendar, with what name it will create accounting calendar? Whatever the name we given, okay, whatever the name we given, the same it will take as a, I think we didn't save that file. Okay. Fine, no issues. Okay. Thought of saving it. What is the name we given? This is the name we given. So Mayo Clinics. Our system will create accounting calendar with the same name. Mayo Clinics. And it creates accounting calendar by default for 2 years. Okay. When you submit this file through rapid implementation process, whatever the name we are giving in the template, the same name it will use for accounting calendar, and it creates for 2 years. And after creating accounting calendar, it will create primary ledger. The same name it will take for primary ledger. Along with this, it will include the primary ledger belongs to which country, the country code it includes in the primary ledger name. To create the primary ledger, we need calendar, currency, chart of accounts, and accounting method. So calendar, it will pick the same name, whatever the chart of accounts instance is available, the same it will pick. And currency based on the legal entity can derive the currency. Otherwise, already we given in the template level, the same currency it will pick. When we talk about accounting method, in the manual process, whatever the accounting method we selected, same accounting method system can select during this process. Okay, by selecting the accounting method as a standard accrual, which is seeded one, system creates primary ledger. System will create the primary ledger and it will set returned earnings account also. We'll discuss that. Okay, it will just create the primary ledger with this name and it will set ledger options. We'll set ledger options. Okay. We'll see how system can set the ledger options. We'll discuss that. After ledger options, it will create legal address. We given in the rapid implementation template. It will create legal address. With the same legal address, system will create legal entity. After legal entity creation, system will assign this legal entity to assign LE to primary ledger. After assigning the legal entity to primary ledger, within the primary ledger, what are the balance and segment values we have, those system will assign to the legal entity. Assign balance and segment values to legal entity. After that, system will complete primary ledger. Okay, complete primary ledger. The system will complete the primary ledger definition. After that, it will create business unit. And system will assign business unit business functions for our BU. So assign business unit business functions. Here for our business unit, system will assign all the business functions. It will assign all the business functions. And along with that, system will assign primary ledger and legal entities to this business unit. So this is what the file is going to complete. Now we'll go one by one. Okay, how system can perform that activity, what are the inputs for system, or in the template, what clues we given, everything we'll discuss. So accounting calendar. Okay, the wrapped implementation template, we given that name as a Mayo Clinics. With the same name, it will create accounting calendar. Okay, it will create accounting calendar the same name. By default, it creates accounting calendar for 2 years. We'll go and check. Before we go and verify all these setups, let's create our own project. From now, we are going to work on the system with the name called as Mayo. Let's create one user, same name, and everything will do from that user. Security console. Go to users. So just click on add user account. We need a user called as Mayo and assign basic roles, application implementation consultant and IT security manager. Select application implementation consultant, IT security manager. So done. Set password. Okay, the moment you assign these roles can be synchronized with that user automatically. It doesn't take time to get synchronized. These are the serial roles. To these 2 roles, we are not assigning anything. I will connect to the instance with our own user and we'll go through all those points to verify. I will create one project with the same name. Manage implementation projects. Click on create. Say Mayo Clinics. Just save and open project. Just wait for a moment. The background we can see financials added. Let's add other offerings also. Say product management. Add this offering. Add order management offering. And you can add offering called as material management and logistics. Certain setups you can do only from this offering. We'll see that when we do the setups, we'll come to know why we are adding this. Material management and logistics. The purchasing setups and all are part of procurement. Add procurement offering also. Added. Just click on that. Now we are ready with our project. We'll go and check everything from our project only. Okay, we'll select our accounting calendar. System created or not, we'll check. Search for the task called as accounting calendar. So you can choose any task. All will take us to same page. Manage accounting calendars. System should create accounting calendar with the same name. Mayo Clinics created. Click on the same name. How it created, you can see. Okay. So it created for 2 years. You see 22 and 23. Okay. For 2 years it created. We given in the template one adjustment period, year end. Given once a period. Accordingly, it created accounting calendar. Same name. If you want to update the name, you can change at any point of time. Possible. Name you can update. Rest of certain details, start date and all, you cannot change. Done. I will check primary ledger. So search for the task called as specify ledger options. Let's go to ledger task. Manage primary ledger. Manage primary ledgers. Click on go to task icon. So system should create the ledger with this name plus country name, country code US. So Mayo search. It created Mayo Clinics US. Name it, the status is confirmed. If you want to change the name from here, you cannot change. You can change only from the ledger options. Okay, the name you cannot change from here. We'll go and change from the ledger options. And here, system will set ledger options automatically. As a part of ledger options, what we set minimum returned earnings account. Now system will set returned earnings account automatically. How system can set returned earnings account automatically? If you look at this sheet, rapid implementation template, go to natural accounts. Here search for the account called as returned earnings account. Okay. Returned earnings account. Returned earnings. Here, the returned earnings account type is owner's equity. There is some additional tagging called as returned earnings. Because of this additional tagging, automatically system will choose this account into returned earnings account field. Okay, system will choose this account. What about company and department? From company, it will take the first value. From department also, it will take the first value. And account system will pick this account with the help of this rapid implementation process. There is a tagging called as returned earnings for the returned earnings account along with account type. So this tagging will help the system to understand this account should be taken into ledger options as a returned earnings account along with the company and the departments as the first values. We'll go to verify whether system completed that activity or not. Go to specify ledger options. Click on go to task icon.
So we need to provide a retained earnings account every time when we upload the Excel.
Yes, this tagging is required. Ideally, see here. Here, since we copied, it is not showing, but what is the original sheet Oracle is providing as sample data? There you can select from drop down. We give the sample sheet to the client. We'll remove the data and we'll give to the client. Okay. After getting the data from the client, you will be able to select it. Your drop down value, you can say. Owner's equity, retained earnings. This is how you can select.
Okay.
Now we'll go and check. So we want to check ledger options for which primary ledger. Select our primary ledger. Click on apply and go to task. Our primary ledger name is Mayo. Search. Select. Click on save and close. Okay. You can see selected language and it created retained earnings account code combination automatic. As per the template, we have this retained earnings account with additional tagging as a retained earnings. But how system is taking the company and department? That's how they program. It takes first values for remaining segments. So for company, first company, department, first department. Company department can be anything, but account should be retained earnings. And now you can change the name. The rapid implementation template, you cannot give exact name, how you need ledger name. That is the reason we given, okay, Mayo Clinics, system created as a Mayo Clinics US. Now you can give the exact name, how you want to see your ledger. So Mayo Clinics USA primary ledger. And we verified the system created our chart of account structure instance or not. After verifying, we updated instance name. The same it is displaying here. Same. Okay, we changed the display name. The name, that name it is displaying. So save and close. We should not change the returned earnings. Yes, we did not change anything. Don't worry, we didn't change. And legal address. Okay. So system created legal address, created legal entity. Directly we'll go on to check whether system is assigned legal entity to our primary ledger or not. System assigned legal entity means created address. With the address it created legal entity, then only system can assign legal entity to primary ledger. We'll check this task directly so that you can understand these setups already completed. For completing those setups only, legal entity can be assigned to primary ledger. Or else directly you can go to this setup also. We'll just verify the balance and segment values are assigned to legal entity or not. After completing these setups only, this can be completed. So we'll go and verify the balance and segment values are associated with our legal entity or not. Here is the task. Assign balance and segment values to legal entities. Our primary ledger is in the selected scope. Click on go to task icon. So legal entity created. This is a legal entity name. As per the template, whatever the name we given, same name it is taking. Right? This is the name we given. The same name it created legal entity. The balance and segment values it's assigning to legal entity. How it is assigning the balance and segment values to legal entity already we given here. These two balance and segment values are belongs to same legal entity. We given that is a clue for system. Just we are checking now. So already we have seen the ledger status is complete. Our primary ledger status is complete. And now we'll verify system created business unit or not. So what is the name we given for business unit? We given name called as Mayo Clinics US Business Unit. And to that we associated legal entity. This legal entity is associated with our primary ledger through balance and segment values. So these balance and segment values are belongs to which primary ledger. To that primary ledger, automatically system will assign this legal entity. Okay, these balance and segment values are belongs to these balance and segments are values are going to be in which primary ledger. In that to that primary ledger, this legal entity can be assigned. That's how automatically system creates mapping between legal entity and primary ledger. With the same relation, system will assign primary ledger and legal entity to business unit also. Okay, we'll go and check. First, we'll verify business unit is created or not. So manage business units. Click on manage business unit task. Click on go to task icon. And search for our business unit, whatever we given in the rapid implementation template. That is Mayo Clinics US business unit. It created, but there is no address you can see. There is no address information as per the template. Okay, address we have to create through manual process. Just click on this business unit, how system created you can see. Just click on this. So whatever the name we given in the template, the same name it is taking. And no location and default set common set. It is taking common set. The same we selected at the time of business unit through manual process also. Okay, the automation also. That means in the rapid implementation process also, system is selecting our reference data set called as common. Okay, so this is seeded one. We can create our own that we'll see later. Now, location, you can create and assign the location to this business unit. Let's create location. Manage locations. So create. So I will give the name as Mayo Dallas. And here you can select the address line. Dallas BU address. You can select the zip code. So for testing purpose, you can provide any data, no issues. Reality, when we are part of implementation project, we get all the data from the client. The client will provide all their branch addresses accordingly. We can create these addresses in the system. For testing, you can pick anything. Just click on submit. Say yes. The request will be submitted. Do you want to continue? Just click on yes. Submitted, say okay. Now we create a location. We'll assign this location to business unit. Okay. If location is not as associated with the business unit, in the different applications, certain concepts doesn't work. Okay, but the reason always we have to make sure that location is provided for every business unit. Find our BU. Click on BU name. Select location. What is the location name? Mayo. Say save and close. So after creating business unit, what rapid implementation sheet can create? It assigns the business unit business functions to our BU. Along with that, the rapid implementation file can assign primary ledger and legal entity to our business unit. This setup is completed or not, we will go and check. Okay, here is the task. Manage business unit set assignments. No, business unit, manage business unit, business functions. Business unit, business functions. Okay, task name is assign business unit, business function. Click on this task. So here is the task, assign business unit, business function. Click on go to task icon and select our business unit. We are going to verify the rapid implementation process completed this business functions assignment to our BU along with the primary ledger and legal entity or not, we are going to check. Click on apply and go to task. What is our BU name? Mayo. Search. Select. Don't click on the name. Select this record. You click on the name, it will open the BU, whatever system created. Okay, select this record. Click on save and close. Now you see for this business unit, system assigned all the business functions. You see here, all the business functions assigned. And assign our primary ledger and legal entities also. So we no need to touch anything. System can perform these setups. Okay. So that is the use of financial common entities file. Now what we will do is with Amex, whatever we completed, we'll complete the same with this setups. Okay, almost all the setups are ready. What we have to do is for this Mayo user, we have to assign the GL roles, assign a primary ledger to GL roles and open the GL periods. That would be equal to Amex setups what we did through manual process. Okay. So we'll go to security console, tools, security console, users. Our username is Mayo. Just click on username. One second. Second, we refreshed. Security console. Go to users. Find our user. Click on display name or username. Click on edit. Assign GL role. Add roles. One role is enough. Okay. So general accounting manager. If you find two roles with the same name, select which is starting with ORA as a roll code. Select and say assign. This all already we complete with the Amex user, right? So save and close. Assign our primary ledger to this user and open the GL periods. And we can proceed with the other topics. Setup and maintenance. Go to task list. Search. From project or directly from this page, you can go to task called as data access for users. Click on add. Our username is Mayo. Select user. Role general accounting manager. To this, what you want to assign data access set. It is nothing but a primary ledger. The copy of primary ledger is data access set. Our primary ledger name is Mayo Clinics USA primary ledger. So save and close. Done. Now we have to submit LDAP job so that the roles related assignments will get synchronized and we can open the GL periods so that these setups would be equal to the setups what we did with the name called as Amex. Search for LDAP, use tab. It will fetch the job where the LDAP is includes. Select retrieve latest LDAP changes job and say OK. Click on OK. Submit. So at least wait for max 1 to 2 minutes. Within that time, it will get synchronized so that we'll be able to open the GL periods. So why we have to open the GL periods? When you create the transactions in inventory and purchasing applications, the inventory and purchasing application looks for GL periods status. Okay, and we work on GL and in the purchasing and inventory applications, we have to make sure that the GL periods are open so that we'll be able to create the transactions in the same period. Okay, we'll wait for 1 minute. I'll just pause the recording. So the status is still running. No issues. We'll go and verify. Better you can sign out and sign in. So go to Navigator. So here we can find general accounting because of GL roles. It's not showing. We go to any other page. You can display sometimes. You can just go to any one of the page, then try. Still it is not showing. That means not synchronized. We'll check now. It is showing. Just expand general accounting. Click on period close. If 100% synchronization is complete, it will take us to that page. Yes, we are able to access that page. Now click on this GL period status. The first period is Jan 22. You can say open. The first period is open. Now go to actions, select open target period. The current period is August. Say open. The current period status is open. Now you will be able to create journals within the GL by using this primer ledger that already we tested. Now, what process we followed as a part of rapid implementation? We are going to follow the rapid implementation process. So as we discussed, okay, first you can create your own user. After that, load geographies, then prepare. You can go with rapid implementation process. Okay. You can follow this, creating these files and loading these files. After that, you can create implementation project, create implementation project, and you can assign roles to user. So when you create a user here, you can assign the roles. After completing these setups, to have access to GL application, you can assign the GL roles. There are 5 roles, but we are not going to work on GL. Our area is SCM. So just for our understanding, we assigned 1 role, that is enough for us. So assign GL roles to user, assign primer ledger to GL roles, and open GL periods. So that means our primer ledger, legal entity, business units should be ready. Our primer ledger, legal entity, business units should be ready with this setups. Now, we have seen how to create the primer ledger, legal entity, business units through manual process. Other side, we created all these through automatic process, that is a rapid implementation process. Now, if you want to have a look, is enterprise under divisions, we'll go and see that. Okay. So enterprise as a SCM consultant, we no need to touch enterprise definition, that purely belongs to HCM. That is related to HCM, but we will go and see. Okay, we'll go and see how that is there in the system. Okay, what information is available in the enterprise level, we can understand. So go to setup on maintenance task. Go to task list. Click on search. Search for HCM enterprise information. Enterprise HCM information. Enterprise HCM information. This is a task. Manage enterprise HCM information. For every instance, Oracle is providing only one enterprise. One client means one enterprise. They may do business in multiple countries. So what is the purpose of this enterprise? For HCM purpose. But that is a part of enterprise structure. That is the reason we are discussing. When I talk about enterprise structure, one of the component, one of the enterprise unit is enterprise. That is the reason just we want to understand by going through the same definition. The task name is manage enterprise HCM information. Click on this. Click on enterprise HCM information task. It will display what are the predefined enterprise Oracle is providing. Here we can change the name. So these are the details you can see related to this enterprise. The working time for employees, Okay, the frequency weekly, total working hours in a week, 40 days. How the worker number need to be generated. Okay, so initial person number. This is all completely related to HCM, the payroll related, the balance definition, position, job, grade, etc. The complete information related to HCM, human capital management, nothing is related to SCM or any other applications. Now you can click on edit so that you will be able to update the data in this enterprise. Click on edit. Say okay. What is the reason you want to do some changes that you can specify? Here you can change the name. Somebody given the name as BMA Limited, etc. We can give the name as Mayo Clinics. Any name you can give. But this setup should be taken care by HCM consultants, human capital management consultants. What is the employment model? Okay, so salary levels. These all are related to HCM. Okay. So HCM and the person number generation. If you create employees, okay, what should be the number? This all can be completed by HCM consultants as per HCM solution. So we no need to touch this. Just for our understanding, we are here. And just we didn't do any changes, you can say cancel. Say yes. And already we discussed divisions. Divisions completely optional. You don't see the implementations as somebody is using the division as a part of enterprise. If you want to include, you can include. But the best option is you may use division as a part of segment, chart of account segments, so that you will be able to record all the transactions division wise along with the other segments. We'll see how division can be created. How the division can be created, we'll go and see that. Search for manage divisions. Manage division. Just click on create. Say one is say Mayo Healthcare. That's all. You can just give the name. There nowhere we are going to map this with anything. Click on next. You can give the who's the head for that division and submit. When you establish the organization hierarchies, you can include this. Ideally for SCM point of view, okay, or finance point of view, that is not required. For HCM point, HCM and PPM, there we create organization hierarchies to implement the solutions. There you can include it if you want to use division. Otherwise, you don't need to include anywhere. So that's all about enterprise division, primer ledger, legal entity, business unit. When we start with inventory, we'll create inventory organization. Now it is not required. Okay. The part of enterprise structure, we have seen how to create all this. Only inventory organization is pending. We will see that later. And now we are ready with common setups. Okay. These setups are required to implement any offering. It could be finance or SCM or PPM or HCM. These are the basic setups. We implement any applications. So what are the setups we completed? These all are the basic setups. So far, we are using the user called as implementation user. Okay, whatever the user we are using, that user is implementation user. With the implementation user, you can do all the setups, but almost all the setups, 99% setups you can complete. But the 1% setups you cannot complete being a implementation user. So only employee users will be able to create all the setups. Take example of creating supplier. Supplier can be created by employee user, not implementation user. Implementation user cannot create the supplier. Say for example, you want to create the requisition purchase order. Implementation user cannot create the requisition and purchase orders. Implementation user cannot create the requisitions and purchase orders. Okay. The implementation user cannot create the requisitions and purchase orders. Only employee users can create the requisitions and purchase orders. For that reason, we have to create employee user. We have to create employee user. To employee user, and we will do some other setups also before we talk about it. Whenever required, we'll do that. But now take this point. So employee users can create the requisitions and purchase orders, and employee user only can create the supplier definition. Supplier complete definition can be done by employee user. Now we'll go and create employee user. Why we did not create employee user till this time? We created implementation user. Why? If you want to create the employee user, we required business unit. That means the employees belongs to which business unit, which branch, and the employees belongs to which legal entity. Employees belongs to which legal entity, we have to select. By selecting business unit and legal entity only, we can create the employee user. So that is the reason initially we created implementation user. In every implementation, first we create implementation user. After completing the implementation user creation, we do the setups. After doing the setups, once business unit and legal entities are ready, we can create employee user. When you create employee user, if you select legal entity, the system will try to understand the employees belongs to so and so legal entity, but the employees belongs to which payrolls. Okay, which payrolls. When you create employee, we select legal entity. That means system will identify the employees belongs to this company, and the employees belongs to which payrolls, system will verify. So the payrolls we can define. The country specific payrolls we can define with what already we discussed. Legislative data group. Okay, the country specific payrolls we can define. So every employee should belongs to specific payrolls. Means every employee should belongs to specific legislative data group. Now what we have to do is we have to create the legislative data group. That legislative data group we have to assign to our legal entity. If you select our legal entity at the time of employee user creation, to that legal entity, which legislative data group is assigned, accordingly system will understand that employee will belong to that legislative data group for payrolls. So what we are going to do is we'll create legislative data group. So we'll create legislative data group for US legislative data group. So this legislative data group we have to assign to our legal entity. This legislative data group we have to assign to our legal entity. Okay, when you create employee, say we are going to create employee called as X. When you create employee, if you select this legal entity, already we assigned legislative data group to this legal entity. System will understand this employee called as X belongs to US legislative data group. That means for employee X, the payrolls falls under this legislative data group. Okay, by using US legislative data group, the payrolls can be processed for this employee. That's what system will understand. If you select legal entity directly, system cannot understand this employees belongs to which payrolls. That is the reason. So before you go and create the employee user, for every legal entity, you have to assign the relevant legislative data groups. When you create employee, system will understand the employee payrolls are belongs to which legislative data group. It can understand if legislative data group is assigned to legal entity. If you don't complete this setup, system won't allow us to complete the employee user creation. For that reason, what we have to do is to create the employee user. First, we have to create legislative data group. So create legislative data group LDG, and we have to assign this legislative data group to our legal entity. So assign legislative data group to legal entity, and we can create employee user creation type. You can select legal entity, to which legal entity already legislative data group is assigned. You can select business unit, so that system will allow us to create the employee user. After completing the setups, we'll go and create employee user. When you talk about employee user creation, we have two options. One is you can create new employee user. Employee user means employee plus user. For employee, we create in the system and we'll provide the username for that employee. The second option is you can convert implementation user as employee user. Converting implementation user as employee user, nothing but we add employee profile to implementation user. So these are the two options are available. We'll test these two options. Okay, we'll go and test these two options. So generally, we convert implementation user as employee user. If you convert implementation user as employee user, again you no need to assign the roles to that user. Okay, so that is the advantage. If you create new employee user, again you have to assign application implementation consultant role, IT security manager role, and GL role, assigning that primary ledger to that user roles and opening the periods. Okay, if you already open the periods, that's okay, but all you have to repeat. So that is the reason ideally we convert implementation user as a employee user. Right? Now we'll go and see. The reality who has to create legislative data group. Legislative data group should be created by HCM consultants. As a part of implementation, if you have HCM also in the scope, it would be ready from HCM consultants, and you can assign that legislative data group to our legal entity, or else this setup also can be completed by HCM consultants. Okay, these two setups. Ideally, these two setups are related to HCM only. So if HCM consultants are available as a part of implementation, as per the scope of the implementation, we no need to complete it. If HCM consultant is not available, that means no HCM implementation, we have to create it. Okay, we have to create, otherwise we cannot create employee users. Let's see how to create the legislative data group. It is a very simple definition. Okay, it's very simple. So go to search, or you can go to implementation project. From anywhere you can do it. Okay, you can go to our implementation project, or you can complete this setup from the search page also. So let's try to do the setups from our implementation project. Click on overview. So what we want to do, we want to create legislative data group. Legislative data group. To manage legislative data groups. Say in your company, HCM is not going to be implemented. That means for your client. Still, Oracle will support to create the legislative data groups and employee users. You may implement only finance, you may implement only SCM, or you may implement both. Even if you don't implement HCM, human capital management application, certain setups Oracle will allow to complete, because without those setups, we cannot use supply chain management or finance applications. Those setups we call as shared setups. Shared. Those setups are shared across all the applications, employee creation and all. Those are the minimum setups which are required to work on any applications. Even HCM is not implemented as a part of your implementation project, still you can create legislative data groups, and you can assign legislative data group to legal entities, and you can create employee users. That is possible. So click on, go to task icon. Legal entity selection is not required, reality. It is asking you can select, but ideally it is not required. Legal entity selection is not mandatory, not required. Nowhere it will get connected with the legal entity directly. Okay. Not required. See here. Okay, let's select, no issues.
So is it set up in a finance offering or a HCM offering?
It would be available in all the offerings.
Okay.
Okay, it would be available in all the offerings. The reason, if you are going to implement SCM, you have to complete this. If you are going to implement procurement, you have to complete. If you are going to implement finance, you have to complete. Now see what we are using. This is from procurement. It would be available from all the offerings. Select your legal entity. But to complete the setup, legal entity selection is not required. Since that is there as a selected scope, it is asking. See here, it's just the page from where we can create the legislative data groups. Just click on create. You can give the name as Mayo US legislative data group. Country. Select country as United States. And when you select the country, system is defaulting the currency. So cost allocation structure is nothing but the payroll related. Okay, the pay slip, whatever the components you find, all the components can be created by cost allocation structure. It's a purely related to HCM. We no need to touch it. Okay, just provide the name, select country, system will default the currency based on the country, submit. This is how legislative data group creation is simple. It's very simple definition. Done. Now we have to assign. The legislative data group to legal entity. Here, search for legal entity HCM information. Legal entity HCM information. Please make a note of all these task names. Okay. See, this task is available from procurement as well as financials. So click on any one of the tasks, both are same. Okay. So manage legal entity HCM information. What purpose we are navigating to this task? To assign our legislative data group to legal entity. Okay. To assign legislative data group to our legal entity, we are using the task called as manage legal entity HCM information. Click on go to task icon. Here our legal entity is in the selected scope. The previous setup, we selected legal entity, that is in the selected scope. Okay, so that is the reason directly it is selecting our legal entity. Okay, it is selecting directly from that legal entity is selecting. If you are doing the setup from outside of the project, you have to select. That is only the difference. Here you can go to search. Task name is the legal entity HCM information. Click on manage legal entity HCM information. Now no legal entity is selecting. If it is a project, within the project, our legal entity is available as a selected scope so that it is defaulting to that legal entity only. If you are creating from here, you have to find our legal entity. Find our legal entity. Click on legal entity name. Okay, just click on legal entity name and click on edit. Select update. What is the reason we are updating? No reason. Say okay. Just say okay. Click on edit. Select update. The update reason you don't need to specify anything. Simply you can click on OK. It will allow us to assign our legislative data group to this legal entity, what you could see here. Just wait for a moment. Now go to payroll statutory unit. Go to payroll statutory unit. Payroll statutory unit and legislative data group both are same. Okay. Payroll statutory unit and legislative data group both are same. To this legal entity, we want to assign which legislative data group. Here you have to select that legislative data group. Click on drop down. Click on search. What is the legislative data group we created? My US legislative data group. Select. Say OK. Okay, we are assigning this legislative data group to this legal entity. Click on submit. Just click on submit. Now we are ready with the setups which will allow us to create the employee user. Okay, we are ready with the setups which will allow us to create the employee user. Now first what we will do is we'll go on to convert our implementation user as employee user. After that, we will see how to create the new employee user also. Okay. Click on done. Done. To create the employee user, we have to use the task called as manage users. The manage users task is belongs to HCM applications. Human capital management application related task is this. Click on manage users. Click on create. This is a basically shared task. Okay, even if you're not implementing HCM, you can create the employee plus user from this page. If you are implementing HCM, human capital management, there are separate pages. By assigning that relevant roles, you can have access to those pages. There you can create employee with the detailed information. We don't need employee creation with the detailed information. So this task is enough for us to create the employee users. You can give the name as same, Mayo, and mail ID. You can provide any mail ID. And so this is a person details, person mail ID, person hire date, person name. If you want to provide first name, middle name, title, all you can provide, but not mandatory. I'm not giving. So these details I want to map to our existing user. Here, link user account. Select the radio option and click on that link. You want to convert which implementation user as employee user. Mayo. Search. Select. Say OK. Now, this employee user belongs to which business unit and legal entity, all we have to provide. Select person type. In the fresh instance, you can find only two values. One is employee, other one is contingent worker. Contingent worker is nothing but contract employee. So these all values are created by somebody who are working on HCM applications. Okay, who are testing HCM. They created different person types. But in the fresh instance, you can find only these two values. This Mayo employee is permanent employee or contract employee. Contract employee, select contingent worker. Permanent, select employee. When you select person type as employee, system will ask us to select this employees belongs to which legal entity. Legal entity means which company. Based on that, system can identify the employees belongs to which payrolls. Select our legal entity. Legal employer is nothing but legal entity. Select our legal entity. To our legal entity, already we assigned. Okay, already we assigned our legislative data group. Okay, it will allow. For example, I want to select our Amex legal entity. What happened? Somebody changed Amex name, I guess, in this instance. No issues. Okay. So let's select our legal entity, that is Mayo. Selected. Now it is accepting. Why it is accepting? The legislative data group is assigned. Otherwise, it won't allow to select legal entity name here. This employees belongs to which business unit? Select employees belongs to which business unit? In reality, Mayo is not an employee. Mayo is just we created as a implementation consultant. But still, if you want to convert implementation user as an employee user, you should select any one of the business unit. Otherwise, you cannot convert implementation user as an employee user. Selected all these details. Now click on save and close. Now what system will do is this profile for Mayo implementation user, whatever the details we added here, these details system will display as a profile against this Mayo implementation user. That means this Mayo implementation user will be converted as a employee user since we are adding employee related data or details to this Mayo user. Now go to security console. We'll wind up in 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. Go to users, find our user, Mayo. Click on username. Now see, the last name, these names are added, the mail ID is added, and the worker name is Mayo, person number it is showing, and this user belongs to which business unit. This is all system added because we converted this implementation user as a employee user. The same way you can create new employee user also. On the same page, instead of linking with the existing user account, you can create new employee user. We'll see that. We can complete in 2 minutes. To search, task is same, manage users. Click on manage users. Click on create. Okay. So Mr. X. Okay, Mr. X @gmail.com. So what is the username you need? Mr. X only. Now select Mr. X, person type as a employee, and say Mayo employee. The legal entity name is Mayo US legal entity and business unit. Select business unit. So save and close. We are not setting any password here. If you provide valid email ID here, you will get notification to your email ID. From there, you can set the password. Okay. If you provide valid email ID, you will get password reset link you can set. Otherwise, from the instance you can set. The users, the employee users, whatever you create from the manage users task, that users will be available in the security console. Mr. X. Search. Mr. X is available here. From here, you can set the password. Reset password. Now, these are all we call as a common setups. Okay. Till today, whatever the setups we completed is all we call as common setups. Applications in the future, these setups are common. Without these setups, you cannot work on any applications. Okay. These are common setups for any applications implementation. Right, we are ready with the common setups. In tomorrow's session, we can start with our inventory. First, we'll start with inventory, then we'll talk about purchasing. We'll see the P2P cycle. After that, we'll move to order management, and we'll work on the order management. Along with that, we'll see O2C cycle. After completing all these, so If you want to understand other procurement related applications also, I'll take you through other procurement applications also. First, our focus is SCM, supply chain management, including purchasing, along with the P2P and O2C cycles. After completing all these, we'll see what are the other applications you want to understand from core procurement. So we're done for today, and we'll connect tomorrow same time. If you have any questions, please.
Yeah, I have one question, Lakshman. So what is the task that I need to use to create new employee user?
Employee user task name is manage users.
Manage users.
Yeah. Manage users. This task belongs to SCM applications, human capital management application related task.
Okay.
Manage users.
Okay. I don't know, for some reasons I'm on that legislative data group. I'm unable to find that task in my instance.
Not typing exactly. So this is a legislative data group.
Yes.
Or else you search from this page instead of searching from your project. Search from search page. From search page, all tasks would be available.
Okay.
Go to task list, go to search. From here, you can find any task irrespective of the task belongs to which offering and which option.
Okay.
Search from here.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions, please? No.
Lakshman, I almost joined half an hour back. I missed 1 hour class. So if I go through the video, then that could be enough. Or
yeah, that would be fine. Just go through video. If you have any questions, we can discuss in the tomorrow session.
oh, okay.
We'll do that. Fine.
So from tomorrow, actually, core SCM will be started.
Correct. From tomorrow, our core SCM will start.
Okay.
Yeah.
These two videos, Lakshman, will you upload today? Yesterday's and today's?
Yesterday video already uploaded. You can check in that link. You can find as a 14th video. Okay.
Okay.
The
Send to
session
mail.
video I'll upload today itself.
Okay, Lakshman. Yeah.
Fine. That's all for today. We'll connect tomorrow same time. Thank you all.